Hi there, it's Cheryl here, and I have another Thanksgiving card for you. And what we're going to need for this one, it's got lots of glitter on it, or lots of sparkle. What we're going to need for this one is some either Mossy Meadow cardstock, or if you still have the Always Artichoke cardstock, that works just as well. And this is a 5.5 by 8.5 inch piece, and it's scored and folded 4 1/4, so that makes us a nice little 5.5 by 4 1/4 card. We're going to need some copper foil paper, and we'll be cutting these maple leaves from it using the die from, let's see, it was in the Colorful Seasons bundle, and it's called something else. I'll put that down below in the materials, but if you want just the die set, it's of course it's called something else. So we'll use that, and then I'll also use the Layering Leaves embossing folder, and I have a piece of pumpkin pie cardstock, and that was cut to 5 1/4 by 4, and then embossed with the folder. And a little tip with these really heavy duty thicker folders, I find that in my Big Shot, I'll open the platform up all the way, take all those little those little pages, and flip them over, and I'll run it through like that once, and then I'll flip the first one over and run it through a second time, and that way it kind of eases your paper into that shape, and you don't get crackling and things. Some people spray it with a little water. I don't like to do that, but I find this way it makes it come out nice every time. Okay, so then I have let's see, I have another little piece here of the green, either Always Artichoke or Mossy Meadow, and this is let's see, this piece is 3 3/8 by 3 3/8, and then I have a piece of designer paper. I downloaded this from Far Hill, the Far Hill website, and they have all kinds of lovely papers you can download and print out if you have a color printer. This is 3 by 3, so this fits inside there. That's going to go on the front of our card. And yeah, and this is that paper is Leaf Fall is the paper. I have a piece of Very Vanilla for the inside of the card. This is 4 by 5. I don't know why I made it 4 by 5, but I did. So, and then I have another scrap of Very Vanilla, and I'm going to be using that to cut our little, do our little tag here for on the front. So let's get started on here. Let's see. First of all, when you do these little leaves, when you cut these out and die cut them out, I do not recommend using the die brush on them, because it's it will make all kinds of little dimply spots on your foil paper. So I punch out. I take a pokey tool. This is the end piece from my take your pick tool, and I sit here and poke every one of them out on when I'm using the foil papers. We're going to be using assorted glues. I have Tombow, and let's see, there's my Tombow, and my designer's Dries clear glue. I used the sentiments from Pheasants on this card, but of Of course, again, if you have other Thanksgiving stamps that you want to use with it, that's perfectly acceptable too. I use the Tuxedo Black Memento ink, which I have sitting upside down. That way it keeps the ink to the top of the ink pad. You don't have to do that with Stampin' Up pads. They naturally flip over, and we'll be using pumpkin pie with that also. We're going to need a little sponge dauber. On my demo card, I used, for all my little glittery dots here, I used the Nuvo glitter drops, and this is Golden Sunset. And we'll also need a piece of wide burlap ribbon. This is, let's see if it tells me on here how wide it is. I'm not seeing it. Let's see, maybe on this side. 2-inch wide. So we'll need a piece of that. And I'm almost done poking my little pieces out here. And I'm also going to be using, I finally got the Stamparatus that Stampin' Up came out with. And it's really quite nice. So I'm going to want to tell you a little bit about that. So, here's my Stampin' Up commercial. So I got the Stamparatus, and it comes with a booklet. It's got 2 of these leaves, so you can have 4 images set up. So you can put it like this, and then turn it around and put it like this and stamp, and you can do that with either one of them. So that gives you 4 options. They also have additional ones of these to purchase if you want more. Now this did not come with it. This is my silicone mat. And I was watching videos about the Stamparatus, of course. And one of the people on the videos stores her silicone mat. And this is from Stampin' Up also. In between, you can't store them with these leaves snapped in place. I can't snap it in place because I don't have a flat spot, because it won't fold down all the way. So you have to just lay one of them on top like this, and this keeps it from sliding around, and also gives me a wonderful place to store my silicone mat, which I never really knew where to put before. Plus, if you want to, when you get into the very corners here, the very edge, then sometimes it doesn't stamp properly. You can just take your little mat there and put that in there, and either put your foam mat if you're using a silicone stamp, or just this if you're using a rubber stamp, and it gives you just a little bit more height here in the corners, and it will stamp nicer for you. When I got it, I thought they didn't give me my magnets, and I went through all the packaging, still couldn't find the magnets. I thought, oh man, now I'm gonna have to call them, tell them I didn't get my magnets. But then I realized, oh sorry, I bumped the camera. Let me straighten that out a little bit better here again. And I realized they're on the back. There's 2 nice little storage spots on the back, and these are very, very strong, and they're nice. They're the nice big rectangular magnets. You don't want to get these anywhere near each other, because they're going to be a bugger to get apart. So that's good. They give you 2 little storage places on here to store them. So anyway, I'll be using that in the video. And I also want to show you the difference. This is another thing I do like about it. Okay, here's the mini Misty, and you see it's a good bit smaller than this. It's very limited in size of what you can use in here. I used this for years and was very happy with it. But you can only do a certain size, up to a certain size. Whereas this has, the Stamparatus has the open edges So you can stamp pretty much anywhere you want and have paper hanging off the sides all over the place. So then they came out with the Tim Holtz platform. Here's the Tim Holtz platform. Now let me show you. And I like this one too. I like the Mini Misty. I like this one too. But it's kind of big. You know, and you know, maybe you're like me, you have storage problems. So it's smaller than this one, but you still have the advantage of having the open sides. So I like that about this much better. It's got a much smaller profile. Plus, in these you just got the little round, two little round magnets, and you know sometimes those aren't quite enough. So let me get rid of this Tim Holtz one because this is just much too big to have sitting on my table when I'm not going to use it. Okay, got that stashed away. Alright, so let's get going on the card here. I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to stamp my Thanksgiving sentiment first. And I'll be using the Tuxedo Black Memento ink for that. And I have a piece that's a good bit bigger than I'm going to need for my sentiment. So I'm going to stamp my Happy Thanksgiving. I want to leave myself about an inch from the side here. So we can do that nice little fishtail thing. And 1, 2, 3. I kind of smooshed it up there. Oh dear. Let me try that again. That's a good thing we have two sides to our papers, huh? So I'm going to leave myself about an inch. 1, 2, 3. Oh, much better. Now I'm going to trim this with my paper trimmer. Oh, let me bring that in. Let's see if I can put this on the table here somewhere. I don't usually have enough room here on my table to do this, so I'm going to trim this down. And just line that up. I'm going to line that up with the sentiment where I stamped it. And just give myself a little space there. Alright, so there's the one side. And now I'll flip it around. And I'm not aligning it with the top because I didn't get it very straight. Let me see. Right about there looks good. And there we go. This looks like it's a little bit thinner than my other one, but that's okay. If you don't tell anybody, I won't. Alright, so we can get rid of that garbage there. And let's see, I'm going to need some scissors. And I'm just going to cut in here. Let's see, about ½ inch in, right in the middle. And then I'll go from each of the corners to that point. On both sides. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to sponge all around the edge of that with my pumpkin pie. And I'm also going to bring in, if I can find it again, somewhere around here I have there's my papers. I'm going to bring in my designer paper too. I'm going to sponge all around the edge of that also. Because it's a downloadable paper, it doesn't match pumpkin pie exactly, but it's pretty close. So by sponging around the side here, sponging around the edge here, that gives it the pumpkin pie color and brings it all together. And if you want to, you could also go, well, I'm going to do this next. So let me get this done. I'm going to sponge all around the edges of this one. This must be exciting, right? Like watching paint dry. Watch me sponge this stuff. I don't need to sponge that end because that end's probably going to get trimmed off. I'm pretty sure it's going to get trimmed off. Okay. Now if you want to, you could go like in between your leaves and add a little bit of pumpkin pie also in your paper. Or maybe you have paper that you're going to use that matches the pumpkin pie much better. But that just kind of blends it in with the pumpkin pie colors. So now I can glue these two together, and I will use my Tombow glue for that. That will give me a little bit of time to move it around, get that centered. Okay, so there we go. That's together. I'm going to take this piece. I need my burlap ribbon. And when you get ribbon, don't throw these plastic bits away that it comes wrapped around. It's, if you put a little bit of sticky tape on there and make a mark where the end is that you want to peel up, you can use that to keep your ribbons from unspooling in your drawers. And let's see, I want some tape for this. And put a couple good stripes of our Snail Adhesive. And I'm going to go wrap this around. Not quite in the middle. I'm just going down just a little bit to the bottom. Now my burlap ribbon, I have no idea where I got it. Floral Garden. I have a funny feeling I may have got this at Michael's. But I pick up stuff all over the place. I find things at the dollar store and all different places. Okay, so now we've got that wrapped. And so we can attach that to our card front, our card base. And I've cut out, rather than using a whole bunch of dimensionals, I've cut out some paper strips here. Or not paper strips. These are craft foam strips. Now the ribbon's kind of thick, so I need to have something to pop this up. So I'm going to use my Tombow glue for that. Put Tombow on my foam. When this is using the foam instead of dimensionals too, if you're going to mail your card, helps to keep it from getting smushed down in the mail, because no matter how many of those little dimensionals you put on, there's always those spaces in between. Well, even with this there's spaces, but it's much better than having a whole bunch of dimensionals. Let's see, I think I've got some other little bits over here. I'm going to put those in the middle. These are just little cut off pieces. You know, sometimes I even use a cardboard like from cereal boxes. That's a good thing to put in between. You can do a bit of recycling at the same time. You can be environmentally conscious. Oop, stick down there. There we go. So let me get that on the card. Okay. Now I seem to be running out of time on my video. It says I've got about 4 minutes left. So I'm going to stop the video. I'll let my Tombow dry for a minute and then I'll be right back. Okay, so let's finish putting our card together. Now I have more time. I have a whole 24 minutes and 55 seconds now. So on the back of this piece, alright, at the very top here, I'm going to put a little triangle of that craft foam with the Tombow glue again. Put that up the top here. And then we're going to put this down here near the bottom. We have another bit here. Okay, so now we can put some glue on that. And with the part that has just the little triangle, that will be facing upward. And we're just gonna, that's just gonna kind of straddle that piece of burlap ribbon. I want to get that come on, stick down. Alright. See, so now, and yes, there's bits hanging over here. So we're going to take that. Well, first we're going to put our little banner on here. I'm going to put that right here in the middle. And you can pop this up if you want also. I think I did pop mine up. Let's pop it up. I have some little bits of that craft foam hanging around here, so I don't want that. Don't want to get too close to this straight edge here, because we'll probably be trimming off some of that. Just put some of that Tombow on there. And center it on our squares. Okay. Now we're going to take scissors. Oh, by the way, I stamped the sentiment and put that on the inside of the card while I was away for the minute or so. And I'm just going to trim this off just like that. I'm going to trim this bit off, and we'll do the same on the bottom. I find it's easier if you turn it over and trim it. So now it's trimmed off, and we can do a little decorating now. I'm going to use my designer's Dries clear glue. Let me get my little pin out. And I'm just going to put a little bit on this center part of the leaf here, and maybe down the stem. I'm going to tuck that in. Tuck that in here. Maybe. There we go. And I have a little glue oozing out, so I'm just going to blot that off with my finger, because that will, it not only dries clear, but it dries shiny. And I think on this one I'll trim a good portion of the stem off. That was a little hard to stick it under there. Alright, and I'll have this one go at a nice little angle this way. Now on my demo card I used the glitter drops, and I just put a whole bunch of them randomly in the background here. But maybe you don't have glitter drops. But if you've done these leaves, I know you have the copper foil paper, and we've got all these little bits around here that would be scrap and get thrown away. So I used a hole punch, and I punched a bunch of them. And what I'm going to do with those is, let's see, there's a little piece of our craft foam, and in my take your pick tool I have the big ball stylus end here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these little, now you can put them down just as they are, but I'm going to give them a little dome shape. If I can get them off my fingers. There we go. So I'm just going to roll it around on top of that, or on the bottom of it. You want the shiny side down. And I'm just going to do a bunch of these. So there's, going back to the Stamparatus while I'm doing this, there's because of the way that those, your little door things are attached there, you can also use it to stamp multiple images that are spaced. I believe it's 1 inch. So you have 1 inch area to work with. So you can stamp a sentiment. Take the door off, move it down one, and stamp it again and again and again, and all the way down the side of your page. I'm gonna have to do something with those. Right now I'm just concentrating on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Yeah, I know, Christmas already. But you know, if I do a card, I need to give you guys time so that you can get, if you don't have some of the materials and you want to use exactly what I use, then you know, you need some time to get those things. They don't just appear in your mailbox by magic overnight, unless you want to pay for overnight. But I don't like to pay shipping charges at all if I can help it. Okay, there we go. So we've got a bunch of these, and I'm going to use these little domes much like you would use sequins on my card. Let me turn them all over so they're easy to access. And I'll use my art Dries clear glue for that, and my take your pick tool. Now it's got an end on it like this. This is a little sticky thing on here, so you can pick these up. Look at this. You can pick them up and place them with that. Oh boy, I didn't put my glasses on. This is hard to see. So give yourself a nice little dab of glue there. You get a little better grip there with my sticky tool. And I'll just put them around here. Let's see, there's another one. Where should we put that? Put that maybe right here. You want them kind of random looking. I don't know if I'll use all of these. Oh, dropped another one. So I think I'll put one over here. there. So we're almost done. We're just putting these little glittery things on. Our little homemade copper sequin things. And yeah, maybe one up top here, huh? Needs a little something up there. Stick on there. There we go. There. So that's it. That's the card. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit that like button down below. I do look at things like that. If you have any questions or comments, then be sure to leave those down below because I check those too. If there are any Stampin' Up! Products you'd like to purchase, then you can do that. That would be great if you used me as your demonstrator. And you can do that either through my Facebook page or my blog. And as always, I'll put a list of the materials I use down below. So y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.